Weathering is a key part of painting models, and there are more and more fancy products out there now, but not everyone has access to these, or the money. So, whether you're painting the disgusting mouldy metals of Nurgle, the ancient dry verdigris of Tomb Kings, or the rusty iron of long-dead vampire counts, in this video I'm going to show you how to achieve 3 different and realistic rust and verdigris effects. Just with simple paints, no products needed. The first colour I'm going to show you is a dirty, oxidised bronze, perfect for Nurgle. For this, I'm just going to base coat with Screaming Bell. You may need more than one coat for a smooth finish, but just apply as many coats as you need for a strong, even layer. Once that's done, I'm going to shade the metal with Wildwood Contrast. This would be too strong straight out the pot, so I'm actually going to desaturate it and dilute it down to more of a wash. To do that, I'm going to take 3 parts Contrast Medium, and then mix that with 1 part Wildwood. You can see how that changes the strength of the colour compared to undiluted. Then, I'm just going to apply a thick layer of this all over the metal. Because I've diluted it, it's going to act more like a wash, and stain the overall surface, but concentrate more in the recesses, which is what we want. I'm then going to give that a good while to dry. With that done, we have our darkened metal, and it's ready for some oxidization. To do this, I'm going to start with Sotek Green, which I'm going to dilute heavily with water. You can see here that I've applied some on my palette, and then I just add in water until it's a thin consistency, a bit like milk. You can always test the strength by painting some over your thumbnail like so. There, that's about perfect. Then I'm going to apply this into all the recesses. Because it's diluted, capillary action will help it flow into the deeper areas where I want it to go. Next, I'm going to repeat the process with Temple Guard Blue, a slightly brighter colour, again thinning it down and then applying it. This time, I'm going to cover a slightly smaller area, focusing more into the joins between surfaces so as to leave a little of the previous colour visible. And finally, with Blue Horror, I'm going to thin this down and very sparingly apply it into the deepest areas I want to be the most oxidised. Around rivets, for example, or the corners. I next dry brush the metal with Sycorax Bronze to bring some shine back to the edges. And finally, pick out the most prominent points such as rivets with Canoptek Alloy. And with that done, we have a dirty, oxidised bronze. Next, I'm going to do a copper verdigris. This is the sort of colour that ancient Egyptian copper would turn, buried in a dry, hot environment, so it's perfect for your Tomb Kings. This time, the base coat is Sycorax Bronze. To shade it, I'm first going to dilute Coelia Green with equal parts Lahmian Medium, to thin the wash down slightly like so, and then apply this all over the metal, letting it especially gather in the recesses. With that done, you can see we have a lovely green-tinged copper. To make the effect even stronger, I'm next going to heavily thin down some Nilakh oxide paint with about 2 parts medium, and apply this all over the metal again. This will leave some of the darker green from the last stage visible in the recesses, and provide an oxidised patina over the whole surface of the metal. Once that's dry, our metal's looking really good. All that's left to do is to dry brush the metal gently all over with Canoptek Alloy to pick out the edges, and finally spot highlight with Stormhost Silver any rivets or the most prominent points. And that's our second verdigris recipe done. Finally, I'm going to show you an easy rusty iron, perfect for your undead skeletons and zombies. To begin, base coat with Iron Hand Steel. Then, I'm going to wash this all over with thinned Garaghak sewer, just like I did for the Wildwood earlier. This time, I take 2 parts Contrast Medium to 1 part Garaghak sewer, and then apply this all over. Once that's dry, I can take some more of this shade and apply a second layer focusing on the lower parts of any surfaces. This will just help to build up some gradual shading on the flatter or rounder surfaces, almost like a true metallic metal effect. To create the rust effect, I'm going to use Skrag Brown, heavily diluted like previously, and let that run into all the crevices or any pocks and dints in the metal. This looks quite strong at first, but dries a lot more subtly, so you may want to apply a second pass once the first is dry, to build up that bright orange rust colour. And finally, I'm going to pick out highlights with Stormhost Silver, where the sharpest edges are and any rust would be chipped away. And there we are. With that done, we have our 3 weathered metals, using only standard paints and very little effort. For now, all that remains is to thank my members. Your support really means so much. Please do consider becoming a member yourself if you enjoyed this video, and like and subscribe to be notified when my next tutorial drops, or suggest what you'd like to see me paint next. I'll see you next time, and until then, happy painting.